Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to your Wednesday edition of FSU Weather. Today, it was an absolutely gorgeous day, but it was definitely pretty toasty. We've got our sun right over Doak Campbell Stadium with not a cloud in sight. It was 84 degrees today and sunshine all around with just some slight breezes. Across the region, we're seeing a pretty similar story. Temperatures hovering around the lower 80s, so a little bit hotter than last week, and we should honestly expect those conditions to stay. Nothing on the radar, just a little bit of ground scatter, but no precipitation in sight, so we are staying very dry. Overnight, it's going to reach 57 degrees with some slight clouds, but not too chilly. And as for the rest of the show, we're going to talk about our local forecast for the next week, our warm temperatures, will they stay, will they, won't they, and what is going on with the rest of the U.S. All of that and more on FSU Weather.
Good evening, everyone. This is student meteorologist Daniela Streety, and right now let's take a look around campus. We have beautiful blue skies, and we even see the sun beginning to set over Doak very soon, and the res as well. We're getting a little bit hues of orange in the horizon as the sun will begin to set very soon. It's beautiful weather, honestly, very consistent across the Big Bend and South Georgia. And if we're also planning to go to the beach, it's currently 84 degrees, mostly sunny. And if you want to go take a look at that sunset later on tonight, that would be a wonderful place to go look, as it's staying pretty clear around the coast. Some light breeze to the south at 6 miles an hour. Very pleasant and warm weather we have. And if we're planning to go out tonight, it will begin to cool down slightly into the mid 60s, and if you go really late tonight, maybe even the low 60s as well. So if you're going to plan to stay late tonight, make sure to bring a light coat if you are sensitive to the cold. If you're planning to walk your furry friend tomorrow morning, definitely in the earlier hours, bring a coat or a hoodie if you want to keep yourself a little warmer. But if you get later on into the late morning, it's going to get a little bit warmer out, so possibly a t-shirt and shorts will be perfectly fine, as the sun will be out and shining tomorrow morning. Also, with the warm weather we've been having and very sunny weather we've been having, tomorrow would be a great day to honestly sit by the pool if you have the time to do so. Hopefully some of you guys have a free day tomorrow. I certainly don't. But if you do, definitely take advantage of it. Definitely will get into the low 80s around noon and upper 80s around the middle of the afternoon. If you go and pollen report as well, we're going to see a little bit on the high side for tree pollen. If you're sneezing, that's probably why, so make sure to get some of that Claritin and Zyrtec in check. If we take a look at our airport delays, we're pretty clear right now, and that's really consistent across the country. And if you are planning to travel, well, this weekend, if you plan to travel to watch FSU lose against Miami, most likely, showers will be late, and temperatures will be staying in the low 80s if you go to Miami this weekend. But let's move on to Priscilla. Tell us what's going on across Florida.
Yeah, so I just want to give you all a sneak peek behind the scenes. Earlier, Daniela and I went outside to go explore Market Wednesday, and as soon as we stepped outside, I sneezed 3 times. So I definitely believe that our tree pollen is very high. But across Florida, clear skies, beautiful and hot with just a couple clouds. We're seeing little clouds in Miami and in Tampa, but nothing too crazy, not really associated with too much precipitation except for in portions of South Florida near Miami. But the rest of the state is looking pretty dry, so definitely great chances to soak up these warm temperatures before fall really sets in and digs its claws into us. But for current temperatures throughout the state, we're seeing temperatures mostly around the lower 80s and upper 70s, which are mostly around West Palm and Miami, but those are likely associated with that precipitation. But generally, we're sitting pretty warm throughout the state. Next couple of days, it's going to be lower 80s in Miami with just some clouds, but not too much rain, except for right now where there's a couple of scattered showers heading into the Keys. But for Tampa, it's another similar story, looking at mid-80s, so it's a little bit warmer, a little fewer clouds, so you're going to really be feeling that sunshine in your day to day. But Orlando, similar story, 85, 86 throughout the next couple of days. No rain, so if you're heading to the parks, great chance to do so and enjoy those attractions in this mid-off season. Jacksonville, similar story, 86 and 85 throughout this weekend. So generally really comfortable temperatures, and our radar for North Florida is looking again pretty dry. So same story, enjoy this weather while you can, but into the overnight hours, we are taking a look at some cooler temperatures, mostly here in North Florida, but it's a little bit warmer as you head into South Florida with a low of even 76 in Key West, which is pretty warm for a low temperature. But as we head into the next couple of days, it's going to stay pretty warm, even reaching 89 tomorrow in Tallahassee. So keep that in mind as you plan out your day. You're definitely going to need some of that sunscreen to protect you from those UV rays. But let's take a look on over to the National. Daniela, what's going on?
Yes, thank you, Priscilla. So around the National, we're pretty mild right now across the country. We definitely are feeling that even in the southeast and in Florida especially. We do have a little bit of a cold front though. We can kind of see it with this temperature gradient here across the country right now. It's about just a little north of the southern tip of Illinois at the moment. So a lot of people more north are going to see a lot more mild, more fall-like temperatures, maybe even some snow in higher elevations going into tonight and tomorrow. We even see 51 in Seattle right now. And of course, as we see 89 in Dallas and 76 in Denver. So pretty warm temperatures across the United States, but it is fairly dry for the most part. We have dew points sitting in even at 25 in Bismarck, but mostly across the country, the 30s and 40s. Of course, as we get into the southeast, more closer to the Gulf Coast, we are seeing dew points in the 50s and 60s and even 69 in Miami, but that is going to be pretty typical, but still drier than what we usually feel here in the southeast. And here we take a look at our fronts right now. Like I said previously, we have a front around the middle of the country right now that's stretching across, and we have another one just to the north, closer to Montana and North Dakota. But most of the country is still staying dry. We might have some rain ahead, but nothing severe is planned to happen. Most of the radar, again, across the country is clear with the exceptions of some rain across Indiana and Ohio, and then all the way up to the Pacific Northwest around Oregon and into Idaho overnight tonight. As we take a look at our storm outlook, we don't have anything severe expected, but for the next couple of days, something may pop up around the middle of the country, but nothing to be super concerned about over the weekend. We overall have pretty good conditions, but expect most of the country to have above average temperatures and much above average temperatures, especially in the southeast and into the northeast as well. As we go farther west in the higher elevations, we're going to see possibly below average temperatures, so definitely a relief for them, hopefully, going into next week. Tonight's temperatures, we're going to be pretty cool for the most part, definitely feeling like fall in a lot of places. We're going to see 42 in Seattle, 43 in Billings, and as we move farther south, we will still see some mild temperatures in the low 60s, possibly even upper 50s around Tallahassee. In Tampa, even seeing mid 60s as well. So it'll be quite comfortable, especially for us Floridians. Maybe it's going to be a light jacket kind of night if you're going to plan to be out late or up very early tomorrow morning. And as we move into tomorrow's forecast, we're going to see a bit of a warm up across much of the southeast. We're going to see 89 in Tallahassee, 89 in Dallas, but places in the Pacific Northwest, after that cold front has pushed through, it's going to be dry and very cool. We're going to see a bunch of upper 50s for the most part. And if we move on to California, we will see some very comfortable low 70s to enjoy. So across the country, we are expecting a lot of drier weather and a lot of slightly above average temperatures for the most part for this time of year. But as we take a look into the southeast, Priscilla, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so similar story as to what we saw on the National. Not a lot of precip, lots of clear skies and warm temperatures. So currently we're sitting mostly around the 70s, 80s over in Tampa and in New Orleans. So a little toasty, but could be worse depending on where you're at. As for our radar locally, we're not seeing a lot of precip, so we're nice and dry, but that's just for now. As for current temperatures across the region, really what we're looking at here is the warmest temperatures here in Arkansas and Louisiana, Mississippi River Valley area. And it's actually, believe it or not, a little bit cooler here in Florida and into portions of North Carolina. So it's definitely cooler, more west as you head into that Texas region, and they're feeling those dry conditions just coupling with these warm temperatures and probably giving a risk for some fire weather potentially. But dew points are generally in agreement, roughly around the 50s, 60s area. So this is actually pretty good for our time of year right now. Could be worse, it could be a lot more humid, but also it could be a little bit drier, which we haven't really seen as much with some fronts to take away some of that moisture in the air. If you're in Nashville, it's going to be a pretty pleasant weekend, lots of sunshine to go around. Lows getting all the way down to 49 as you head into Sunday, with the highs lowering down to 70. So generally very comfortable. And if you're in New Orleans, similar story, except we're sitting in the 80s and our lows are not really going past 64. So that's, it's like I'm seeing triple over here. But anyways, for the rest of the region tonight, it's going to get around the 50s and 60s, so it's going to be a pretty comfortable night. It'd be a really great chance to take a walk or, hang out with some friends in the park. Definitely enjoy these nice temperatures while we have them, because as soon as you know, Nashville 56, you see that cold air, it could bring down lots colder temperatures as we head into the next couple of days. But as you head into tomorrow, similar story, sunshine all across the board with highs in the 80s and even reaching 91 in Shreveport. So definitely keep this in mind as you head into the next couple of days. If you've got a long commute, might be a day to bring out a umbrella to block yourself from the sunshine. But let's take one last look at the local.
Yeah, so across Doak right now, we see that sun setting a little lower than earlier in the show. Temperatures are mainly the same, sunny in 84, breeze from the north-northeast at 7 miles an hour. Radar so far is all clear, nothing to worry about across the Big Bend and South Georgia tonight, and really for the next several days. Across the board, we're seeing 80s everywhere. We have 84 in Tallahassee, 81 in Thomasville, even dipping down to the upper 70s, 79 in Apalachicola towards the coast. Dew points are still a little muggy, but we're drier than what we're used to. Definitely not dew points like we have usually in the summer or in September. So we're sunny, but at least we have the drier air to kind of accompany this wonderful weather we have. We have dew points mostly in the mid-50s right now, and of course towards the coast it's going to be a little higher in the mid-60s. Most of the temperatures we've had are slightly above average in terms of our afternoon highs. Low temperatures are staying around average for this time of year today, so we had a high of 86, so a little above average than what we usually have this time of year. If you're planning to go out tonight, the low is going to forecast to be 57 degrees tonight, and so if you're up really early tomorrow morning, that might be some jacket weather to enjoy, but we have clear skies and calm winds so far. And going into tomorrow afternoon, we will have a very consistent, again, upper 80s, maybe some lower 80s towards the coast, but for the most part, inland counties of the Big Bend and South Georgia are going to see mid to upper 80s tomorrow afternoon, but again, lots of sunshine to enjoy, so definitely utilize your time outside if you can. And looking into the week ahead, pretty consistent, I would say. It's going to feel a little bit like Groundhog Day. It's going to be day after day after day. It feels like the same thing. Consistency is key. We're going to see upper 80s and 90s throughout the rest of this week and into this weekend. Next week, we may see a little bit of a cool down with some mid-80s, and morning lows will stay mostly in the upper 50s, maybe even low 60s, but definitely a great weekend to enjoy. Lots of activities around town. We do have the Greek Food Festival this weekend, as well as the Zubilee Friday night. If you're over 21, you can buy a ticket. You got free food and drinks from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Tallahassee Museum. So definitely something to enjoy. Lots to look forward to into the next week. But we will give you one last look at Doak and have a great night.